Deuteronomy 6:4-5 reads, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all of your soul, and with all of your might." Welcome to Equipped in Grace, where we talk about following Jesus in the chaos of real life. I'm Vinny Pizarski, and if you've ever wondered how to bring your Sunday faith into your Monday meetings, your parenting, your relationships, or just your everyday mess, this podcast is for you. So let's get outside of the church pew and get equipped for discipleship in the wild world in which we live. 4 episodes ago, we began a series on the Shema, which is a common Hebrew prayer composed of the verses read at the beginning of this episode. We took a break from that to highlight speakers from both the men's and women's retreat that we host here at Grace Church in Perrysburg, Ohio. As a side note, men, you can still register for the men's retreat as of the airing of this episode by visiting gracegmc.net/men's retreat. It's sure to be a deep and powerful weekend where we learn how to become the heroes that God intends us to be. Getting back to the Shema, so far we've delved into the deeper biblical meanings of 2 of the key words in this prayer. First, we talked about heart, which is the Hebrew word lavav, and where that is an accurate translation for that word, the cultural context of lavav goes deeper in Hebrew than in English. In our culture, we know the heart to be the organ that pumps blood through our body, and we associate it with feelings of love and affection. However, in Hebrew, it was also associated with where you do all of your thinking and rationalizing. So, to love God with all your heart means to seek Him in your emotional and rational life. Second, we looked at the word for soul, which in Hebrew is nephash. This is probably the hardest word to translate since nephash literally means throat. And to tell a modern reader to love the Lord with all of your throat probably won't land very well. However, in ancient Hebrew thinking, the word nephash didn't just mean throat, but could also be used to represent an entire person, since the throat is central to our physical existence. And think about it. We breathe, eat, speak, and drink all through the throat. Therefore, to love the Lord with all of your nephash means to honor Him with your entire physical existence. What you eat, what you wear, how you spend your time, whatever you use your body to do, can all be a reflection of your devotion to God. By now, you're probably noticing a theme. Each of these things that we are told to love the Lord with have a deeper contextual meaning in Hebrew than what we might pick up on in a simple word-for-word translation in English. So let's look at the final word in the Shema, which is to love the Lord with all of your might, or as some translations render it, strength. Now, might or strength are typically used in this context to translate the Hebrew into English, since the actual Hebrew word used here is grammatically incorrect if directly translated into English. Now, the perfectionist in me is grateful for that. However, the poet in me still sees something that we might miss by not considering what the Hebrew word is driving at, despite its grammatical imperfection. So, the Hebrew word in question is me'od, and it's actually an emphasizer word. It literally means much or very. It usually gets translated as strength or might in this context because those words in English are often associated with passion, effort, and enthusiasm. However, strength could also imply that we should love God with all of our physical strength, and as we've already discussed, the word nephash kind of covers this. Therefore, the passage must be driving at something more than mere physical prowess. For context, let's look at another place where me'od is used. In Genesis 1, God is putting together His creation, and after each state, He concludes His work by saying it was good. However, after the creation of humanity, He concludes that this is me'od good, or very good, as humanity was meant to be the crown jewel of His creation. Some translations actually render it as supremely good, since the word me'od is used throughout Scripture to maximize the meaning of the word that follows it. Earth is good, humanity is very good, or supremely good. So it's interesting to me that the Shema actually ends with this word. There's nothing after it, no other word for it to emphasize. And that's the point. it's not meant to emphasize any one particular thing. It's saying our devotion to God should be emphasized with all of our very, or all of our muchness, all of our enthusiasm. At first glance, it seems like it's emphasizing nothing, and yet it's talking about everything. Anything that wasn't covered in the first two categories of heart and soul is placed here and then maximized to its full God-honoring potential. So, now that we roughly understand this word in Hebrew culture, let's put it into ours. I don't think we always love God with all of our muchness, if I'm being honest. Yet, if we think about it, there are plenty of things we go after with as much muchness as we can muster. Shopping, wealth, jobs, politics, or since we just recently had the Super Bowl, as of the airing of this episode, sports. And sports is a good one and actually a pretty good illustration. Think about it. You don't even have to be a fan of sports to see how much enthusiasm our culture puts into its sports fandom. We wear our favorite sports team on our clothes, hang their flags in our front yards, put stickers on our cars, and adorn our babies in sports-themed onesies. Mind you, I'm not judging here. My favorite coffee mug proudly displays a Toronto Blue Jay, and my baby boy looked very good in Detroit Tiger Orange. All I'm trying to do here is to pose the thought, what if we gave that kind of attention and enthusiasm to the things of God? What if we were just as excited to go to church and spend time with God as we were to watch the game after church? For me, one of the things that gets a lot of my muchness is guitar. I do work at a guitar store, but beyond that, I spend a fair amount of time thinking about my next guitar projects and rearranging my schedule and priorities to fit in more guitar. And it begins to occur to me that I am a more balanced person when I put some of that muchness towards spending time with God first. Not only that, I am a better witness to God's kingdom, a better husband, father, and coworker when I seek to spend time with God above sports and guitars and whatever else my current distraction may be. If I think about it, I'm always grateful when I get to serve on the worship team at church because it actually kind of forces me, in a good way, to rearrange my priorities and spend time with God so that I can help lead the congregation into His presence on Sunday morning. When I don't do this, when I only spend time working on guitar techniques and not in prayer or scripture, I can always feel it when I go to lead on Sunday morning, and suddenly I realize I'm trying to lead people to a place where I myself haven't really been. I'm trying to encourage people to praise and worship and be enthusiastic about God when really I've spent most of my time being enthusiastic about guitar and other things. So what is it for you? What do you rearrange your schedule for? What do you think about when nothing else is present to occupy your mind? What is currently consuming your muchness, and how can you invite God into that space? These are the questions I want to leave you with as I consider them too, and as we draw season 1 of Equipped in Grace to a close. Yes, that's right. After 37 episodes, we are actually going to be taking a break to let the ground rest, to let our minds take in new information and revelation that we hope to share with you on future episodes of Equipped in Grace. Now, to be notified of when those future episodes will be coming, we recommend checking the Grace Church Facebook page, which you can visit by going to facebook.com/Grace Church Perrysburg. In the meantime, I will simply say that it has been such a pleasure to have you, dear listeners, along for the ride for this season, and we hope that the conversations and insights shared here have been a blessing to you in your walk with Jesus. Until next time, we encourage you to go and love God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of the muchness that you can muster. And as always, may the Lord bless you and keep you. Bye-bye.